Nobody ever tells you how expensive it is to go on tour as an independent artist. I'm about to spend nearly $7,000 just to play 4 shows, and if I don't plan it exactly right, there's a very real chance I will lose money. My name is Patrick James Clark. I've been a full-time independent artist for nearly a decade, and this channel is designed to demystify the music industry and focus on the real business about building a music career to help establish more middle-class musicians like myself. In this video, I'm going to be showing you the real numbers and pulling back the curtain behind the hard costs of actually touring as an independent artist and my plan to recoup my investment beyond just selling tickets. So I'm calling this a tiny tour because that's exactly what it is. This is my first attempt as an independent artist of stringing shows together. So I'm doing 4 shows in 1 week all across Southern Ontario. And these aren't massive venues. We're talking between 60 seats and 200 seats. If I sell out every single seat available, the maximum tickets I can sell is 500. Now I'm doing this very intentionally. I'm only starting with 4 dates because I want to stress test the economic model that I'm bringing into this tour. If the first 4 dates are successful, then we'll expand the tour after that. And this is realistically the smallest viable version of touring that I can do, and it gives me a great chance to get my feet wet and see if the system's gonna work and what the demand is in the marketplace outside of the venues I've already performed locally. Before I dive into my plan about making money, let me tell you how much this is really gonna cost. So I wanna be very transparent in this video, but I also wanna protect the privacy of the musicians and the venues that I work with, so I've grouped the expenses together into different categories, but I will be sharing the real numbers with you. First, let's start with the costs of musicians. When you factor in rehearsals, the actual gigs, hiring opening acts, those hard costs work out to be about $2,600. And keep in mind too, this is also me, using relationships and connections I have. I have a lot of relationships with musicians and people who are willing to help me out on the rates because they understand what I'm trying to achieve with this tour. It's also important to note these are very acoustic-based shows, so I'm only gonna have 1 additional musician on stage with me. So we are now $2,600 in, and we've only covered musicians. Now let's look at the cost of venues. Now I have different arrangements with different venues. Some of them have more of an upfront cost, some of them have more of a back-end cost, some of them just want the bar tab, etc. But the hard cost of all 4 venues combined is $1,430. And that's just the cost for renting the rooms. So next we're going to look at the cost of sound engineers and PA logistics. Some venues have house systems, some venues we're bringing our own sound engineer, and some venues we're doing the sound ourselves. And also at the time of this recording, these numbers actually might go up a little bit. We might stop running the sound ourselves in a couple venues and bring in our sound engineer. But right now the hard cost for sound engineer and getting a PA into this venue is $650 for the 4 shows. And finally, let's look at the cost of advertising. I'm planning to spend $500 in Facebook ads per city that I play in for a total cost of $2,000. So when you add that up, our total hard cost is $6,680. And like I say, there's some variability in there, and that might get closer to $7,000. And also keep in mind, this is an extremely lean tour in terms of expenses because we don't have to do any overnights. I'm able to cover the travel myself in terms of transporting everybody. So we're still looking around $7,000 or so when it's all said and done. But for the purposes of this video, let's say the hard number we have is $6,680. Now, why does this matter? As indies, I really think that these numbers are overlooked the most in aggregate. So for example, a lot of these expenses are truncated out. We booked the venue months ago, then we're running Facebook ads months later. We're selling tickets kind of periodically in between that. So it's very hard for us to really keep a clean understanding of money going in and money going out. But this is why it's so important to understand your numbers, because you can already see just how quickly these expenses add up. And I'm only talking about 4 shows right now. So now let's talk about how we're gonna make that money back. Let's talk about selling tickets. Tickets for my shows are $20 a piece. Like I said, I can sell a maximum of 500 tickets if I sell out these entire 4 shows. So 500 tickets at $20 a piece is $10,000. So if we totally sell out this tour, great. However, I don't think it's realistic based on my previous ticket sales numbers that I'm gonna sell out every single ticket in every venue. I think a realistic number of ticket sales for these 4 shows is probably closer to 300. So at 300 seats at $20 a ticket, we're looking at only $6,000 and therefore losing money on this tour. And this is why most indie tours fail, right? It's not because people don't care. It's not because the music's not good. It's because the math doesn't work. And that's why for this tour, I'm gonna be using the vehicle of a digital sales funnel to help increase the average order value of any given customer that buys a ticket when they're coming to my show. Now, I've talked about digital sales funnels before, but in short, a digital sales funnel is simply a series of web pages that guides the customer through the buying experience by making additional relevant offers to the thing they already want. And this is where it becomes very powerful for independent artists because as you start booking bigger venues, you're gonna be beholden to ticket selling software that the venues agencies use, like Eventbrite, for example. But if you get to control the entire process through the process of selling tickets on your website or within your digital sales funnel, you can really control the customer experience with that. And because of that, you get to enhance the customer experience. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. So here's what my digital sales funnel is going to look like for the tour that I'm about to go on. Obviously, the main offer I'm going to be making is a concert ticket for $20. However, I'm going to insert 2 additional offers before the customer sees the confirmation page when they buy my ticket. So the first offer is going to be called an upsell, and that upsell is going to be a CD bundle. I have 2 CDs available right now, and some of them have exclusive tracks on them that aren't available on Spotify. So 2 CDs for $20 is going to be my first upsell that I offer to my customers. They can either get them shipped to them ahead of time or pick them up live at the show. And don't you see how this actually is further benefiting the customer themselves? Either you're going to get the CDs ahead of time and you can listen to the music and get ready for the show, or you're going to be able to reserve them, make sure they're in stock for you at the show, and then pick them up for free when you arrive. Upsell number 2 is going to be a tour t-shirt. I'm going to sell it for $45. How many times do you go to a concert, you go to the merch table, they don't have your size in stock, they don't have the design you want? Wouldn't it be more valuable to you to pre-reserve the merch that you want so you know it's in stock, you can walk right up and get it, or even better yet, have it shipped to you ahead of time so you can wear it to the concert? You can even offer a discount on that merch to make it more enticing. So those are the key components of my ticket sales funnel. And just in a minute, I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like and how much money you can generate if you use one of these instead of just selling tickets the standard way. But really quick, before I get into that, if this is interesting to you and you want to learn a little bit more about how musicians can leverage digital sales funnel to generate way more profit than they would otherwise, I'd love to give you a free copy of my new book, Incremental Growth Theory. This is a book I wrote in conjunction with a music marketing course that I built for Western University. It's taught in their 4th year music program, and for the first time ever, I'm making it available to the public. So click the link in the description and grab your copy right now. Okay, now back to the video. So let's take a look at exactly how this funnel would function through a funnel simulation. Okay, so let's jump into this funnel simulation software. I'm in different clothes because the first time I tried to record this, the sound didn't work, but that's okay. So what we're looking at here is a visual representation of what a sales funnel looks like. So if a sales funnel is just a series of web pages, here are our series of web pages laid out on the screen. So what we're looking at right now, this is going to be the main checkout form where someone will buy a ticket. This right here is illustrating the traffic, where the audience is coming from. In this case, it's just social media. We're going to have some paid ads, but we already know our hard costs. So it doesn't really matter in terms of like what our cost per customer is. We just want our source of customers coming in. So we're going to look at this simulation under the guise of selling 300 hard tickets. So ignore these numbers off top for right now because they will change. But to illustrate what we're looking at here, these 2 pages, this is our sales page and then what will be ultimately our checkout page. It's assuming $20 tickets, and 100% of people that land on this are going to say yes because we're assuming 300 purchasers. So 300 people are going to buy our $20 ticket. Once they purchase our ticket, they're going to move from our initial sales page over to upsell number 1. Upsell number one, is our CD bundle. We're selling it for $20 a piece. Now I put in a conversion rate of 30%. That's saying that 30% of the 300 customers are going to purchase a $20 CD. 70% are going to say no. That's what this number is down here. So everyone who says yes and everyone who says no is also going to go over and see upsell number 2. Upsell number 2 is our tour t-shirt that we're selling for $45 as illustrated here. I'm saying that I'm going to assume a 10% conversion rate. Out of the 300 people that buy tickets, 10% of them are going to buy shirts. Now, these are sort of benchmark conversions, and we can play with a lot of different numbers to see like what's the minimum viable number of conversions we need to be profitable. But in this case, I'm taking kind of simple numbers, 30% for upsell number 1, 10% for number 2. Those feel pretty conservative to me. And then based off the buying patterns of my customers in the past, that feels conservative to me and it feels realistic. So I've gone in here for my traffic. I'm saying I want 300 visitors. And then what's great about this software is I can go over here and I can click simulate at the bottom, and it's going to run all of these numbers for me. So what we're looking at here is saying that if 300 people buy $20 tickets, we make $6,000. That's great. If 90 of those 300, right, if 30% of those 300 people buy the CD bundle, we're up another $1,800. If 10% of those people, if 30 people buy the $45 tour shirt, we're up $1,350. And now these are factoring in the cost of goods. I put in the cost of goods as factors for the CDs and the cost of goods for the t-shirts themselves. So what we really want to know here is these numbers down here. When we simulate this funnel, we have $9,150 in revenue, $8,188 in profit. The profit is taking into account the cost of goods for manufacturing the shirts and the cost of goods for manufacturing the CDs. If you paid for those like 10 years ago and you don't care, then you just want to look at this top number, this revenue number. But here's what's really important. When we just sold 300 tickets, we only had $6,000 that were generated. When we put it in the context of the funnel, our revenue now becomes $9,150. So you can already see how much money we're leaving on the table by not making additional relevant offers to our fan base. And all these offers only enhance the customer experience, right? We're making the experience of coming to our show even better by making additional relevant offers. And by way of that, we make this tour more profitable. But now look at this. If I just change this number here from 300 tickets, let's say I actually sell all 500 tickets, and I rerun the same simulation at the same conversion rates, you can see that the revenue jumps up now to $15,250 and the profit $13,647. So $3,500 in profit left on the table if we sold out, and $5,000 and change if we're not considering some of our cost of goods, and in some cases we won't be. So you can just see, hopefully this kind of illustrates here in a tactile version, exactly how effective a sales funnel can be for you. So with that being said, let's jump back to the other video. Look, touring doesn't fail because your fans don't care. It fails because the math doesn't work. And funnels don't just make you more money, they actually lower the number of tickets that you need to be able to sell in order to actually have a profitable show. If I wasn't using a funnel, 300 tickets wouldn't be enough to make this tour work. With a funnel, it is. So if you want more real music industry breakdowns just like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the link below in the description to get a free copy of my new book, Incremental Growth Theory, and I'll see you in the next video.